I don't do this for the following. They follow me, but I ain't tripping. They more dollar trees. I like my time spent modestly.
What is going on, y'all? It's another Tuesday. Welcome to the Joel Friday TV podcast. This is Joel Friday. Bienvenido. Spanish for welcome. Welcome to the show. It's amazing to be here again on another Tuesday. You're looking at Friday on Tuesday. Isn't that weird? Oh, it's weird. But we're here, and I'm grateful. Amazing. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in, that's watching. Tell other people right now to jump on the live because we're going to get into it today. Oh, we got a show today. So make sure if there's people that that can benefit, tell them to jump on the stream and just check it out. Send them the link, right? Just send them the link. And if they don't click on it, oh well. You just send it anyway, and that way it's there in their news feed. And if they don't click it, then no big deal. But there's a chance they may click it, and maybe they hear something that is beneficial, right? You know what I mean? So amazing. First, I want to talk about the topics that I want to cover today, and then we'll get into it, right? But the first topic I want to touch on, I just want to touch on it a little bit, just a little bit, is the transgender school shooter, okay? I want to touch on that a little bit. We're going to get into it, and just a little bit, because I don't want to, beat that up. You know what I mean? I just want to touch on it a little bit. And then I want to get to the meat and potatoes of the show today, which is how to change yourself and others, okay? How to change yourself and others. How to change yourself and others, okay? I want to make that clear because we're really going to get into that today, right? That's the meat and potatoes, how to change yourself and others. But before we get into that, do me a favor. Hit the like button and the subscribe button. Smack it. Lay the smack down on the subscribe, like, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we can get the subscribers up and the message out. So make sure you do that. Don't forget. Do it now, actually, because you can click and watch and subscribe. So do that right now. Appreciate you guys. Amazing. So first... Also, sorry, I forgot to say this. Also, you can call in at 888-775-3773, and you can call in live and we could chat, right? So for the new people who don't know how the show works, you can definitely call in with your opinions or just your disagreements, your agreements, or just a fellowship, and we can get into maybe the topics, something you heard maybe last week, or whatever. You can ask me anything. So you can call in at 888-775-3773. Okay? Amazing. So, there's some stuff going on in the news that is very interesting. Normally, I'm not like huge on doing the stuff in the news. I'll touch on it here and there if it's like important and it's like good stuff. But sometimes I just kind of I take a different route. And not that either route is bad or good. It's just my preference. And but the school shooter, the ties to the transgender school shooter tied into what we talked about on my show last week, right? So as you guys know, if you don't know, there was a school shooter, a transgender school shooter that went into a school and kind of just like shot up the school, right? And as you look here, the killer targeted a Christian school, leaving 6 people dead, including 3 young kids. So sad. It's really sad. And it's even, crazy now that I'm looking at this photo of this little girl in the window. I don't know if that's actual footage. You just never know with these sources. Sometimes they be like photoshopping things in to make you feel emotional. But it's still sad to know that that's a possibility, right? These kids are just like young kids just trying to enjoy, just have fun. You know what I mean? In school and just be a kid. and then they're faced with like serious tragedy, like trauma and hardships, and that it really affects them. So it's unfortunate, but things happen. You know what I mean? But how it tied into my show last week was why did the transgender target the Christian school? Now, I don't know. I don't have proof of why, but I have an idea. Like I was saying last week, Christianity is not doing good today, okay? Christianity as it's taught today is not doing good. I said this last week. And I think a couple weeks before that. Christianity today is not in good shape because it's hijacked by Christians who are misinformed, and Satan has transformed the word and Christianity into a weapon. And Christians today, not only do they judge, but they condemn you as an outcast. So oftentimes when this kind of stuff happens, it's because they have an anger or a hatred towards something or somebody. And this transgender person targeted the Christian school. Why the Christian school? Why God? Well, oftentimes Christianity pushes away things they don't understand, transgenders, or actually Christianity, oftentimes the hijacked Christianity judges these transgenders, judges the gays, and I see a lot of people in conservatives too, a lot of people who are going hard on the transgenders, going hard on the gays, going hard, right? And in their heart, they believe what they're doing is right, justifiable. But I think that they're misinformed, in my opinion. And it's happening a lot. And these people, they're rejecting God more and more, which is just sending them deeper and deeper into the problems that they may have, right? And we all have problems, right? But it's sending them deeper into not finding peace, not finding the light within, right? Because we're not accepting them, we're pushing them away. We're making them out to be bad people. We're making them out to be mistakes to society. We're making them out to be sinners. And when we call them these sinners and all these things, and we judge them so hard, they believe they're a disgrace to society because they can't change. They want to change, but they can't, and they don't know how. Which is why we're gonna talk about today how to change yourself and others. We're gonna get into it today. So, be careful, is what I say to end this off. Be careful about what you say to people, and be careful about how you correct people and criticize people, because oftentimes criticism lacks understanding, and when you lack understanding, you do more damage than you do good. And when you do damage, then you end up this. Don't blame this transgender school shooter. Blame the people in the family or whoever was around him now they didn't force him to do this, or her. I don't even know what it is, him or her. I don't know. Not important, but I don't know what it is. But they didn't force this person to do this, right? But they certainly influenced the individuals around them, his family members or whatever around them, pushed this person to do this. So be careful, because you're blaming this person, but you may have been part of the problem. Because why is he shooting up the Christian school as a transgender? Most Christians don't accept transgenders. Most Christians don't accept gays. They cast them out as evil people, not realizing that they're evil for casting them out. So it's a reality check. And this is I understand. Not that I'm saying like I understand like these people. I'm just so understanding. No, I understand in the sense that I was doing that too. Like swinging the sword of righteousness at all people that were ignorant of it. I've been that too. And I'm still overcoming that kind of stuff. I'm still overcoming. I'm still in the process of overcoming that because I'm seeing that when it's happening to me, how it's not doing good. I've lost people. And it was my fault that I lost them because I was being too much of a Christian, a hijacked Christian. Maybe I'm going to start saying that. Hijacked Christians. I don't know. Jesse's the king at making up phrases and words. I don't know if I'm that good. But anyway, I really wanted to. Oh, the shooter was a lady. So a girl transitioning into a guy, I think. So, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm being told, according to James Hake from the Hake Report. So, whatever. Girl to guy, guy to girl. Everybody need peace. Clarity. So that's just what I a little bit want to say on that. I really want to go into what really is important to me. And I think that the root of this kind of stuff is how do we get to avoid these type of things, right? And the only way we avoid it is by overcoming. So we're going to get a little bit into that. So, how to change yourself and to change others, okay? I'm going to tell you the answer right now. You're about to get at the beginning of the show, right now. You change yourself by realizing you can't. Ooh, I know you guys are mad at that answer if you were really like thinking that Joel had an answer. You realize you change yourself by realizing you can't. But I'm going to give you more, though. I'm going to give you more. Because once you realize that you can't, guess what? You get out the way and you let life just flow naturally, right? But there is stuff that you can do. There is stuff that you can do. So I'm not going to just like make it all just like, dang, we don't get nothing. I'm going to give you a little something more. But just know the most important part of this message is that you can't change yourself and you can't change others. You can't. We can't. And when we try, we only add more conflict. We only make it more of a problem. Because we got to let life just naturally take its course and let ourselves change as we grow in understanding, through experience, through insight, through following God, through everything. Even if you don't follow God, experience, all these things, which all should lead you back to the source, God. Love, right? But here's how you can help, right? Obviously, we should be focusing on ourselves. But there's also a way we can help not only ourselves, but help others in the process. So when I say this, I'm going to tease it, but I'm going to come back to it. So when I say we live by the ego or the spirit, we live by either the ego or the spirit. Remember I said that because I'm going to tie that back in later, okay? I hope that makes sense. Joel sure loves his hand gestures. You know what? Sometimes I get like pumped up and I'm sitting down. And normally when I'm pumped up, it's like I'm at the dance studio. And when I'm at the dance studio, I can move around and dance and like use my energy in that way. But when I'm sitting down, all I have is this. So that's why I use my hands a lot. But that's okay, whatever. Don't judge me. It's the real Mr. Mad, because you're mad. It says anyway. So moving on. Here's how you can help. So the reason why I want to take it back a little bit. Okay, follow along with me. Bear with me, guys. Just bear with me. and try to follow along because there's some key important things here. Okay. For a long time, back in the day, for a very long time, men were the money makers, they were the hustlers, they were the go-getters, they were the leaders. Men were the rulers of the earth, right? Because they can handle it, and they did it with righteousness, in a righteous way. Not in the fake way, the hijacked way, but with light and love, right? It's been in men to take on that leadership role, right? And we had it. And life was in order when we had it, right? Way back in the day. Everybody was happy. Everybody was peaceful. Everything was good because life was in order. The men and women were in the proper roles, right? But over time, men also, with this power that they held of being righteous and of light and the confidence, men also over time became players and cheaters and liars and abusers. I don't really like that word, but it's just to make a point. And let's change abusers, because it is a nasty word. Abusers of their power and influence. We'll say that. Abusers of their power and influence. Okay. And because over time things become corrupt. And men were in control and they called the shots, right? But even before time, when there were righteous men, they called the shots. And then when they were falling away, they still had that power and they still called the shots, even as bad examples. So women back then were raised to be submissive. Ooh, some of the women, if they hear that, they're going to be like, submissive? What do you mean submissive? Submissive, respectable, ladylike, classy, and they were a helpmate to the husband. Now, that seems like a second-class citizen to how women view it now, but it wasn't. It was just as valuable, right, as the men's role. But it was a different role. But it was understood, and they were taught that they were not taught that, but they were raised on that, and they understood that, right? But when men started to decline and become corrupt, they kept their position of power and influence, but the power and influence was corrupted, right? But as time kept going on, women's roles stayed, meaning like they were still raised to be taught, and they were raised and taught to submit and be respectable and ladylike and classy, right? But as the men declined, they weren't seeing true examples of why they were submitting, why they were being respectable, right? So now the women in society is just teaching them to be respectable, be ladylike, but not really understanding why, right? And not seeing any real examples. But after it was taught, it became forced. Now they were doing this out of force, like, and women understand, as a woman, you can't mess around with multiple guys. You look like a hoe, right? So we can't do that. Nope. Women can't have an opinion. Oh no, women can't have an opinion, because if we have too much of an opinion, we're too outspoken, then we're not ladylike, right? So they kept being forced back into their role as a woman, right? And even though that these things are true, you shouldn't have multiple partners. You shouldn't have you shouldn't be out, running your mouth, right? That's not proper. But instead of understanding why you shouldn't, they were just told, you don't do that as a lady, right? They were corrected. So now they're growing up not seeing real examples, but just following rules. And what happens when you follow rules? You break them. So women back then appreciated their husbands and fathers. Why? This is the key point. Because fathers and husbands appreciated them. When women appreciated fathers and husbands and men is when fathers, husbands, and men appreciated them. But over time, men stop appreciating and valuing the woman's worth, right? Her role, encouraging it, appreciating what she's doing, right? Because we end up getting caught up in like this power, and the women love that power, right? A strong man. So now we have options. Now we got a bunch of different Eves walking around looking fine. And they all want us, right? So now we want her, and we get them all, right? And now we are using them. We misuse our power and influence, right? And now it's messing with them. It's messing them up, right? So then things start to decline. It starts to decline. And after a while, as we see today, women become frustrated, right? And there's a reason why I'm saying this, you guys, so just bear with me. Women become frustrated over time, right? Because they're not being appreciated, they're being told what to do, and they're being looked upon as second-class citizens. You're not as important as a man, right? They're not taught the true importance and understanding as a woman, right? Because they're not seeing examples because, this society has declined. But yet the structures of men being in power are still in place. Even though they're corrupted, the structure is still there. So women are living under this structure of frustration and told to be obedient, but not understanding why. So that's building conflict. And guess what? You build enough conflict, what happens? School shooter. Right? You explode. The women got fed up and they said, no more. I'm not dealing with this mess no more. You're telling me to be submissive, but yet you're telling 9 other women to be submissive to you. I thought I was your wife. I thought I was your girlfriend. But you're telling other women the same exact thing. They're like, I'm not dealing with this no more. So then what happens? We lost them. Ooh, this is so deep, y'all. I'm telling you. We lost them. And what happened? What happened next? Feminism. You don't let no man tell you what to do. You don't stay at home. You go get it. What did Satan tell? What did the snake tell Eve in the garden? You can be your own. You don't need to follow no man. You can be your own woman. You don't need none of that stuff. From the beginning of time until today, that's what's happening, right? So the women have said, with the lack of understanding, have said, you know what? No, I'm not going to. This is torture. This is slavery. I need to break free, and I'm going to exalt myself and be a free spirit, and I'm going to go out and do what I want. So what happens today in society? What do we see in society today? Women are taking leadership roles, for sure. Women are becoming CEOs, for sure. Women are becoming bosses, for sure. Pastors. They're taking on these things because why? We told them they can't do it. But we just said, you can't do it. We didn't tell them why. We didn't encourage them to find their way as women. So it's actually done oftentimes, right? Oftentimes. Not all, but most. And I have to say that because when Jesse says that, it makes so much sense, for one. And for two, I don't know how else I would say it. Not all, but all, right? But women are doing it in what do you call it? Rejection. Like to prove a point. So now women are in the leadership roles and they're becoming also the users of men. They got multiple partners. They got multiple people that they're messing around with. They're dating multiple guys. You know what I mean? They have exotic cars. This is not a game. I see a lot in LA. I'm not making this up. Girls have exotic cars, right? They have exotic cars. And then you see girls on motorcycles. I'm seeing girls on motorcycles more and more today, like crazy. On motorcycle. And do your thing. If you want to be on a motorcycle, you want to drive an exotic car, I'm not judging, right? But my point is that we're seeing it more and more now than ever before. Why? Rejection. Right? We're seeing it more and more. And you know what the reality is today? This is the reality. This is reality. Women are changing the culture. It's a woman's era right now. We're in the woman's era. We're in the woman's era. Women are changing the culture. They're changing the roles. They're changing it by force, too. And they're going to let you know we're changing it. And they're not asking for permission. That's the crazy thing. They're not asking for permission no more. They're not asking their husbands, can I change the culture? No, they're changing the culture. Forget you, husband. Bye. And instead of us pointing the finger, we're not understanding why. So that's why I explained that, to understand why this is happening, why we're seeing it today, and where it went wrong, right? Men stop valuing themselves, right? First, following God, right? And then in turn, stop valuing women, because then you start to fall in your consciousness, in your understanding of the light. So now you start operating differently. You're not in the light. You're in the darkness. So then you start living out of the darkness. You're treating people out of the darkness, and it just a slippery slope to the ditch, down into the ditch, right? And when you don't have that understanding of that light, you don't respect yourself, then you don't respect others. So women said, no more. You guys are not respecting us. We're not doing this. And then the mothers too have declined, right? And they're not being the examples that the women need to see of women. And there's some that are out there, of course. But there's a lot that aren't, unfortunately. So the question is, how do we change them? The answer is we can't, but how do we help? Because we can help, right? We can help. You can't change others, but you can inspire them. You can influence them, right? And we live by ego or the spirit. Remember, I said that earlier, to remember. We live by either ego or the spirit. Which one is taking precedence? Which one is in the lead? I'm going to tell you right now. The one that you feed. The one that you feed is the one that's in the lead. That's just a reality. So women are, with the feminist movement and other women and men not being that true example to stop it, they're like, you don't need a man. You don't need him. You're an independent woman. Go do this. Go own a business. Go do this. Da, 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 da. And not that those things are bad. There's nothing wrong with owning a business as a woman, but it's knowing how to properly go about owning a business as a woman. Right? Knowing how to go about these things properly. Because what it really is they want strength. Right? It's not a business that they want. They don't want to own a business. They're looking for strength. So it's about how to properly find true strength. Right? And then if you own a business, maybe it'll be like cookies or something. Now I'm playing. They're gonna women might or if my sister or my mom are watching, they're gonna be like, why would you say that? But anyway, is that you lead by the one that you feed. So I want to end it with this, and then I'll take some calls, is that the proper role of women stop being properly encouraged and praised. They weren't appreciated. And then people would be like, well, why do they need appreciation? If you know your worth, you don't need appreciation. Men love to be appreciated. All men, I'm telling you, everybody loves to be appreciated. When you got a woman that appreciates you for being a man, woo, it feels good. Because you're working hard. And for her to see your efforts and be like, wow, I appreciate you for all that you do for me and the family, or for me. By doing the right thing. That's appreciated to hear. And we don't sit around, and nobody needs to be hearing that all day. Like, I appreciate you. You're so great. No. But when at the proper moments, it builds. It's building. It builds you up. You're feeding that proper spirit when you give appreciation and encouragement at the right moments. It's valuable. But we stopped doing that over time, right? So woman broke free. But society today continues to feed these feminist ideologies to women. So the ego just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing, right? And Christianity says, you're bad, you're evil, you're wrong, what's wrong with you? So then instead of like them thinking that they're going to break away from that ego and go find the spirit, they cling on to that. I'm going to show you, Christians, that I can still do it without my way. I can still do it my way, right? It doesn't help anything. So when we encourage others, it builds. When we appreciate others, it builds. And here's a key point too. And it's hard, but this is so true. We have to accept all people's problems. You accept it. The gays, the transgenders, you accept it. They're gay, they're transgender. And it's not really like they're that. That's not them as a person, but that's where they're at, right? And you accept it. You accept it. You don't try to change it. You don't try to point them another direction, force them, unless they ask, force them to be different, beat them up with the Bible. You don't do that. You accept the problems. And how do you change it? How do you help? Can't change it. It's not up to you. But how do you help? Is that in their victories, you praise him. You praise their victories. You accept their problems and you praise their victories. And what is that doing? It's feeding the spirit. It's feeding the spirit. And you'll see, as you grow in the light, you start to see the opportunities to encourage people. And I'm not saying, because I don't think it's good to walk around and just constantly encouraging people and building them up and giving them compliments. I think that also does damage too. You got to know when to do it, right? But you got to learn to feed the spirit. And correction is not feeding the spirit all the time. There's a time to correct too, right? Because people ask for correction, but you don't go around correcting. Christians got that bad. It's not good. But when you see a moment of light, of honesty, of a woman or a man just being good, being genuine, praise the heck out of that joint. Because that builds them up. That's pulling out the other side of them that's true, right? And the more you build that, that's how it used to be. That's what men and fathers and wives and women used to do back in the day to their children. they would encourage all the good things that they did, building their confidence up, right? And they knew how to deal with the wrong things. They understood what was going on in the wrong things. They were just learning, right? But they had love, so they built them up. They fed their spirit, right? And when they fed their spirit through their experience growing up, the kids just grew up, and one day they looked around like, and they didn't even look around like, how do I have this confidence? They just had this confidence, and they were like, this is just me, right? But we got to learn how to like build people up. I'm still learning, but we got to build people up, and building them is not tearing them down first. That is what we think. We tear down and build up. No, we don't tear down and build up. You build up by encouraging people in the light. That's my opinion. I could be wrong about some things, but this is what I totally believe. I believe this, and it makes sense to me. So to end it off, feed the spirit with patience, love, and understanding. Feed the spirit with patience, love, and understanding. Patience, to me, I think that's God's favorite word. I talk to my friend about this all the time. We always talk about, what's God's favorite word? I think God's favorite word is patience. Because all things make sense. You just give it some time. But patience. If we were just patient with people, then we would allow them to just be themselves. Be what you want to be. Without no restriction, without no judgment and like barriers and boundaries. Because when you let people be free, they'll learn on their own. They'll bang their head up a little bit, right? And then we'll learn on our own. We'll learn. But when you tell them, don't do this, don't do that, that's wrong, you're evil, you're a sinner, we actually put roadblocks in their way. So now they're already struggling with their identity. Now they're stumbling all over the place because they're like, well, he's right. I shouldn't be this way. I'm wrong. It's just evil. And it's sad to think about. Now I'm saying it's like sad to even think about, because I've done that multiple times and I drove people away. That's just the reality. But we gotta stop. Let people be. Leave them alone. Let them be. And you'll know when you can encourage them, or even when to open your mouth. You'll know when to open your mouth. But it's better to be wise as a dove. No, what is it? Innocent as a dove, but wise as a serpent. So like you're seeing what's all going on. You know what's going on, but you're approaching things with wisdom and understanding and innocence. So people can accept, your words are accepted. They're not sharp, off-putting. You know what I mean? So we just got to be better, y'all. Anyways, I got to take some calls. I hope that made sense, because I just be trying to figure out how I'm going to get it out here, and here clearly. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's rough. But I hope that made sense. Oh, dang, people are, hold on. That's one thing. Oh, yeah, James says, it's where they are, not where they're at. But James, you know how black people do it. It's where they are. Nick said, if they had nice cars, that's one thing, whatever. But I don't see the men with the nice cars. That's so true. That is so true. It's rare that you see the men with the nice cars. The women have all the nice cars today. The women have all the nice cars. The women are driving and maybe it's their husbands too. Maybe it's their husbands' cars, maybe. But I see women in Range Rovers, like crazy Range Rovers. I see them in G-Wagons. I see them in exotics. I see them in, what do you call those? Ferrari. I see them like stunting. You know what I'm saying? Stunting. AMGs, Mercedes, BMWs, they just doing their thing, right? But everybody's in search of peace. So you can have that stuff. That stuff is not bad to have. It's not bad to have those things. It's just that those aren't important. But anyway, I don't wanna ramble anymore. So let me go to the calls really quick. Who should we go to? Let's go to Frederick out of Los Angeles. Frederick, welcome. I dropped. Frederick, call back in. Call back in, Frederick. I'm so sorry. I dropped Frederick on accident, and it looked like it was going to be good, too. Let me go to Robert, a first-time caller out of Kansas. Not Arkansas, but Kansas. Robert, welcome to the show. You're on air.
Thank you, sir. Happy to be here. You were going over some very interesting topics, so I called in. And you look great, Joel. You sound great, and I hope that you go full-time, man, and, you take Bond to that next level.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate you. As far as you were talking about ego and spirit, right?
Yeah.
And so you're talking about this specific sort of divide that is correct in my mind, right? We agree on that.
Yeah.
But what I want to say also to you is we have these other divides that occur that are very obvious, like you look at men and women, right? If you look throughout nature, you have a masculine and you have a feminine, and it's that union that creates new life.
Yeah.
And God loves this, and this is an important thing, and you've been talking about this. And that it really is the first divide in nature, right, Joel? So you're a black man, right? I'm a white man, and there's lots of different races. There's races over here, over there. There's at least 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the first divide in nature is really between men and women. So maybe you and I, might not agree on, let's say you're black and I'm white, and you're like, hey, Robert, I don't like you. You're a white guy. But you know what? These women are running our country, and they're destroying.
Yeah.
And so there's things that we can agree on in that first level where there is a design of God. So that God designs the place that we're born into and we live. And what has happened, Joel, and you talked a lot about this, and I feel like you blamed men a little too much, because what has happened, Joel, this is my point to my whole conversation, is that
try to get to it. Sorry, not to cut you off, Robert, but try to get to it quickly, just because I got some other calls here.
Yes,
but
sir,
go ahead.
yes, sir. You have some important callers. Satan is trying to destroy the creation of God because he cannot do anything to God. He doesn't have the power.
Yeah.
Right? So when men were in control, so you can maybe think pre-Civil War, right? Or before the First and Second War in Germany, right? When men were trying to control the world, now Satan has gained control.
Right.
And he has empowered the lesser vessel and the other weakness of our creation to destroy the creation of God, because he can't do anything to God.
Right.
And so that's really what's going on, is that, like, when you look at the Civil War and you're like, the Confederates were bad, or you look at World War II and you say the Nazis were bad. Well, do you really know what those men were fighting about?
Right.
You think they just happenstance were like, no, we're going to try to resist something. Well, what are they resisting, Joel, but the very thing that's in power today, that is telling men are women, women are men. They want to cast blacks as this way, and they want to cast whites as this way, and they want to just control our mindset where we are not able to ascertain the truth. And that's what people need to wake up to, is that this is Satan taking control from man away and empowering the weaker parts of our fragile chronology, our what's it called, carnal nature of women and perverts and whatever you want to call it, sub-white racial groups that cannot function the same way as white groups. and they are trying to play upon that to destroy all of God's creation.
Yes.
And that's what Satan is doing, is just to take us down as far as he can, and they're using everyone in the mix to do it.
Yes.
And that's where we all, sir. And there's one quote I want to say, Joel.
I have to make it quick. Say the quote really quick, and then I have to respond to it after I hang up.
One sentence, and I'll hang up, sir.
All right.
Intolerance is the most masculine of all virtues and the father of civilization. Have a good day, Joel. Yeah. You're a great man. I'll see you, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the call. I appreciate it, Robert, from not Arkansas. But thank you, Robert. He makes a good point. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'm going to just boil it down to the whole thing he was basically alluding to, I think, because he said a lot there, is we got to think for ourselves, get back to thinking for ourselves. And at the end of the day, find God. That's it. I'm not going to try to tell you how to do it and all the steps you need to take to do it. Find them. Search for them. Seek them out. And then you'll figure out the steps. Find God. That's the only way. That's the only way. Go within, because Satan is at work in everybody at all times. So find God. That's the only answer. Let me go to Frederick. I hung up on Frederick, so let me go back to Frederick. Frederick out of Los Angeles. Sorry, man. Sorry about that. Welcome to the show.
It's all right. It's all right. A lot of people need to find their personality, because right now, your personality and these female personalities is what's getting them paid on whatever platform they own, and that's where they're getting their security from. And as long as your personality is putting them as they winning, that's who you're feeding, Joel. They're not winning. Men can always be like, subscribe from this woman, she's fat, she's this, and put them in their place. And their numbers would drop, and they'd be like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And just tell the truth about what they really worth and why they getting their money. And the girl coming up with me, but we're not bashing. We're sucking up to their new cars and trying to get their approval. But if men call them out like, Joel, what's that woman doing in that Benz? You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, what?
I don't know about that.
Being like those snowflakes.
I don't know about the approach of calling people out. I don't find that to be productive. I don't think calling people out is a good thing. I think that's the easy way.
I mean, if they making the rules, they calling out what they want. They gerrymandered to the blacks, and then they rolled on the affirmative action till they way to the top. Now the white man needs the blacks to be like, let's men join up, but they not bringing nothing to the table but more poverty to the you know what I'm saying, the underclasses. No, we want the same wealth, but, I mean, the numbers and the vote is going to talk for the people. So, I mean, It's like, which one do you want?
Which one? Hey.
You can't give the women too much power, or you're going to be subjective to them.
You're 100%. You're 100%. You can't give anybody too much power, but especially the women today, because they exploit it for the sake of whatever agenda they may have. Thank you, Frederick, for calling. Call me again. I got to get to some other calls. I appreciate it, man.
Not a problem. Have a great one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Frederick made some interesting points, but I'm not big on the call outs. I think there's a time to call out, right? There's a time for that. And I'm not going to reject call outs and criticism as a whole. But I feel like as you just mind your business, as you just come across situations in those moments, and as you see how to deal with those situations in the moment, right? People just see your light, and that's what makes them change. I feel like, when you do call out sometimes at the right moment, it does plant a seed and it helps them to overcome, right? But when you let them see your light, but you let them do their thing, they're gonna crash into the what do you call it? Crash and burn. They're gonna crash and be like, man, I can't do this. How is so-and-so doing that, right? But if you tell them what's wrong with you, you need to do something different, then it's like making yourself better than they are, and they're gonna resent you. They're just gonna resent you. So just deal with moments as they come, right? And then you'll see in that moment, like, okay, I need to speak up here, right? There's a moment to speak up. Or they may ask you, like, what should I do here, right? But if you make yourself out to be too smart, they're going to try to pull you down. They're going to try to pull you down, and they're going to go through loops to try to pull you down. So we shouldn't walk around thinking that we know it, and we got to just tell everybody about it. Because then Satan use it against you. You'll gather the demons and say, oh, he's a Christian? Oh, he don't get angry no more? Let's test him. Let's find out. And they'll test you. Oh, and they find out. And now you end up there looking silly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just got to learn to shut up. Now, obviously, there's time. Like, we're on this podcast. It's a good moment to talk about this stuff. Jesse talks about, on this podcast, it's a good moment to talk about this stuff. But I guarantee you, Jesse is not in the street over here at every person he sees and is just telling everybody, get your life together. Because that's so off-putting. But let me go to Patrick out of Denmark. Patrick, not number one. Maybe not a first-time caller either. Patrick out of Denmark. Welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi, Joel. Thanks for taking my call. My number on my bike is actually number 1.
Number on your what?
No, I have a motorbike, and on it there's like a sticker. It says number 1.
Oh, right on.
Now, your topic today, it's a nice one. I really want to make a comment on it.
Okay.
And to express that we can't change ourselves, just like you explained it, basically.
Yeah.
And that's in the eyes of God. In the eyes of God, we're always the same. And this is a really nice story, although a little bit lengthy.
Dude, make it quick though, as quick as you can.
I'll see about it. It's up to you. So it's a story about a clean guy. He's a very clean-cut person, you know. And so there's a robbery at the bank where he works at, all right? And he stops the bank robber. That's what he does. And then he gets home. His wife has taken all of his things. He left her because he's a very clean-cut loser, right? And then she comes back to take the TV. And he kills her right then and there. But that's not all. Then the bank robber's wife comes and seeks him out to curse him for what he did to her husband, because now he's in jail. And they were supposed to have a child together for the money that he was going to rob at the bank. So he doesn't know what to do with himself, this clean-cut guy. And when he decides to rob the bank, and he gets the bank robber out of prison. He does that by talking to his crime-time brother, right? And this is amazing what's happened. Then he gets into a gang war, and a lot of people, they die. And he finds himself dead in the bar after that gang war, standing as a ghost with the other people right there with him. So God's angel comes down to face them. And he says, this is your lucky day, because since Satan is not there, he didn't show up, they're all going to go with him by default. And then the innocent people that's standing there at the bar, they get all excited, and they're about themselves. Whoa, I made it, I'm the nice, cool one. And right then and there, like a flick of a finger, the bartender shows up, and that's the devil. He was the devil all along, the bartender. And what happens? He takes the innocent people with him, those at the bar, and the protagonist, he was always on the angel's list. And he's taken to heaven, although he killed so many people and caused mayhem in the city. So God knew him from the beginning.
Interesting, Patrick. Thank you for that story. I running out of time, so I can't chat too much about that, because I'm trying to like be the 30% in me to end early. But I appreciate that.
Oh, of course.
Patrick, thank you for that. Call again, man.
I appreciate you, Joel. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good one.
You're doing God's work, man. Bye for now.
All right. Amazing. Interesting story. It was hard for me to keep up, but I think I kind of know what he was talking about. Just because I'm trying to my mind is just trying to make sure I get everything done on time. But thank you. What's the name? Patrick from Denmark. Thank you. But that's the end of that. Concludes our show today, y'all. I hope everything made sense. I really wanted to make sure I got that out. But there's something to remember is that we can't change people. We got to stop trying to change people and get out the way. And then when we see the opportunity, be the light. Be the light. And it just sometimes it's just simple stuff. Like sometimes it's as simple as saying thank you. Simple things. Sometimes people be saying things to me and I'm like, and it just, not that it feels good, like, oh my God, it feels so good, but it's just like nice, right? And it just be little. But do that enough to people, the people around you, and eventually they'll start clinging to your way of thinking. You know what I mean? That's how you influence. You accept them. You accept them as they are. Because at the end of the day, strip away all the mess. They're just as they're human like you. They're just like you. Strip away all the mess. Everyone's the same, right? Accept everybody as they are. Because what is changing them? How is that your business? If they're affecting you, then you don't have to be around them. You can move away from them, right? But if they want to go down the street and do their mess, that's okay. Let them go do the mess. Let them go march down the street with their stuff. I don't care. But when they ask me questions, then I give my answers, right? And also, if they're marching down the street and they walk up to me and they say hi, I'm going to say hi to them just like I say hi to everybody else, the Christians, everybody, my mom, my dad, everybody. I say hi just the same. And I'm grateful that I'm able to do that. I say hi to all people the exact same way. Because why? The only reason why we judge is because we have an idea of who they are. But imagine the transgender or the gay person walks up to you and you don't know they're transgender or gay. You're going to say hi to them. But if they walk up to you with the little stars on the nips, right, and they're half naked, then you're going to be like, don't talk to me. It's a judgment. But anyway, hope that made sense. That's the end of the show. I'm over time. I got to go. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I really do. You guys don't even know. This is crazy. I already 6 shows in, and I'm loving it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Keep subscribing. The subscribers are going up. You're making it happen. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. Keep sending the message out. Keep getting the subscribers up. Keep liking the video. Do it now. Do it ASAP. Follow me on social media. I got more stuff coming. Stuff is in the works. I'm telling you. Stuff is in the works. So subscribe on all platforms to Get to the Dance, Joel Friday TV. And let's be a part of something. You know what I mean? And also shout out to everybody on the network. Shout out to Jesse Lee Peterson for allowing me to be a part of the network. There's a lot of good things happening. These are just the beginning stages, y'all. We got a bunch of people doing shows. Like, we're growing too. These are the beginning stages. Ain't nobody seen nothing yet. So keep tuning in because some good stuff is to come. Okay, if the Lord is willing. So, all right, y'all. Gotta go. Peace out. See you next Tuesday. Or maybe see you on social media. Bye.
About a thing, baby, count on me. I'm on point like it's physical, so count on me. I got it. baby. I don't do this for the